Hey, it's Tish, Hawken here. Welcome to episode 12 of my Facebook Live series, which happens on a Monday, here live from Abu Dhabi. This episode is called How to Deal with Emotional Pain in Business When It Hits. So before I go on to the subject, I'll just wait and see if anybody joins me. If you do join me and you're brave enough, please do let me know by typing hashtag live in the comments, or if you're not watching live, hashtag replay if you're watching on replay. And if you're a newbie and you've never seen me before, then please type hashtag newbie so I can say hello to you. Hi Sarah, hi, lovely to see you. So for those of you who are watching on YouTube, because I do upload these to YouTube, obviously you can't comment when during you're watching this, but I'd love to hear from you anyway. If you contact me through tishhawken.com, you can get to send me a message and I will reply. So wherever you are in the world, good afternoon, good morning, good evening. It's now actually 7:55 p.m. here in Abu Dhabi. It's very warm. I have got the air conditioning on. I do hope it's not making too much of a noise. So this weekend, just while I wait for people to come on, if anybody does come on, apart from the lovely Sarah, I went camping in the desert and it was an amazing experience. Lots of stars because there's no light pollution, barbecue, friends, even singing songs with a guitar, not me, but somebody else. And it was just a great experience. It really was a great experience. We even saw a herd of wild camels, which was amazing too. So can't wait till I do that again. Anyway, let me crack on. Those of you who think I don't want to hear about your stuff, I want to hear about the stuff that you said you're going to talk about. So I'm going to ask you a question. So are you the type of person who tends to bottle up their feelings and emotions? Are you scared that if you let them out, you'll be deemed as weak, maybe incompetent, maybe stupid, even unreliable, inadequate? Or are you scared that you might seem like you're a failure? Are you worried about what other people think if you show your emotions? And do you wear a really strong mask? If that's you, then this live is for you, because there are different types of people out there. When it comes to emotions and emotional pain, there's different types of people. There's the people who are really comfortable with being able to express and release that pain. And there's other people who definitely aren't comfortable with that, who have a very steely and hard exterior, and there's no right or wrong, and there's benefits to one and there's benefits to another. But I really wanted to come in and do a live for those people who really struggle to release their emotions, and who beat themselves up when something's going wrong in their life and they feel that they shouldn't be feeling this bad and they should be able to carry on in business. So for those of you who haven't seen me before, what I do is I'm an inner strength coach. So what I do is I help women. I act as a confidant to women who are going through really difficult times whilst they're trying to build a business or a really successful career, or maybe they're already really successful and they've had lots of challenges, but they've always managed to come through them, but this time somehow they just can't get through. And so that's where they contact me, and I act as their confidant, so somebody they can talk to and their coach to help them get through the tough times, keep on track with their business and be able to move forward in their life when the storm has passed. So that person I was talking about before, that question when I said, are you the kind of person who, keeps things bottled up and is scared that you'll be deemed weak, silly, incompetent? That actually used to be me quite a long time ago. Back in my 20s, I was very much like that. Even though I was struggling with a lot of emotional pain, I tried my best not to let anybody see it at all, because I had jobs to do and I didn't want to burden anybody, and I just thought I could get through everything all by myself, and I'd be fine. I was strong enough to do that. So I really was quite strong, but what happened was, because of all the suppressing of the emotions, I became quite ill physically and psychologically poorly as well, because I suppressed all these emotions. And so what I'd like to do is talk a little bit first about the reasons why some people do not release their emotions, or don't express their emotions, or don't turn to anybody when they're having a difficult time. Now, as I said, it could be because they're feeling, they feel they'll be deemed as weak. Maybe they grew up in a household where they were told that showing your emotions is weak. Now, this is really common with men, but I don't want to generalize, and I don't want to be sexist. It's common with men, but I do know of women where it was deemed weak. You know, you've got to get on with it. You've just got to, you know, pull your bootstraps up and get on with it. Women or anybody could not show their emotions because they're always optimistic. I came across a client recently who just could not believe she was feeling the emotions she was feeling, the negative emotions, because she was always so upbeat and so optimistic, and she just didn't know what to do with all this negativity that was inside of her. So it was so alien to her to feel feelings of frustration and grief and anger. Some people are reluctant to show their emotions because they feel if they do, especially if they're in a position of authority, or they have followers, they've got an internet, an online business, or they're quite high up in their game, they may feel that they will lose power. Somehow people will look at them and think, she's not as strong as I thought, you know, I'm not going to follow her anymore, I don't look up to her anymore as much as I did, when in fact we're all human, aren't we? Some people really fear expressing their emotions because they feel that if they start to, that they will never come out of it, because they feel their negative emotions and their emotional pain is so deep that they won't be able to come out of it, and they're actually scared of going there because they don't want to feel what they know they're going to feel. And probably, you know, it's a very intense feeling, isn't it, when we express really painful emotions. Some people think that it's a sign of being a failure as well, that if you have always been resilient and strong, and that when a curveball in life comes along, a really serious one that we really struggle to get over, some people fear that that's it, they're going to fail. It's, you know, it's a sign of failure that they this time haven't been able to manage, which is completely untrue. Also, as I said, people are scared of negative emotions, but mainly it's fear of being judged by other people, because they've maybe built up this persona, this image of themselves. They've put layers on top of themselves, of, like, you know, invisible layers of like a mask of who they are, the image they are, and actually that's not who they really are. And a classic example of this is Robin Williams. So Robin Williams, obviously that fantastic actor stroke comedian who unfortunately committed suicide, was a classic example of that, you know, the layers, the comedic attitude, but inside he was really, really struggling. So when we think of these things, when people think of those things, think that they're weak, that they lose power, that no one will care about their problems, all these things that are going on in that person's mind who is reluctant to show their emotions, that's just a movie. That's just a movie in their head. It's not reality. It's images that they formed inside their imagination of what they think people will say, think, or feel about them. It's not actually what 99.9% of the time what people will actually think. That's our self-esteem, our low self-esteem coming to the fore and driving us with our thoughts. So it's only a movie that we're playing in our head. So just because we think those things of, you know, what will people say, you know, if I break down? What will people say if I take time out because I'm having a hard time? What will people say if they see me not looking my best? Well, you know, people understand that we're human, that you're human, and that things affect us just like anybody else. Nobody is special, you know, no matter how famous or successful they are, we're all born the same way and we all go out the same way too. So let me talk a little bit about the masks. If anybody's resonating with this, I'd really love to hear from you if you're brave enough as well. So just let me know in the comments there if any of this resonates with you. I'll be really appreciative. So the masks that we build up. So what I mean by the masks is the persona that we build and that we form over time, which we start to form actually in childhood, and they're the masks. So let's say when you're with your family, certain family members, you will behave in a certain way because they expect you to behave in a certain way. So maybe you're the really high achieving daughter or son, if there's any gents watching, and you know they're really proud of that. You're someone who maybe they think life's going well because you hide things from them. Or what about when you're with your friends? You know, the mask you wear with your friends will be a bit more relaxed maybe. It may be that you're the fun-loving kind of girl, the woman who's always life and soul of the party, or maybe you're the woman that everybody comes to when they've got a problem, but maybe you don't show exactly what's going on for you, and so you uphold this mask all the time. Or, you know, what about the mask when we're in our work environment? So whether you're in a busy career, a high-flying career, or whether you're a business owner, you know, the mask that we wear, especially if you're online like this and you know, you're going on lives or you're presenting to people, you're doing workshops, whatever, you know, we have to have a very professional mask. We have to make sure that people know that if they're tapping into you and what you're offering, that you know, you're stable and you're reliable and you'll always be there, and you know, you will always be there to help. So we wear all these different masks a lot of the time, and it's only when we're with our, you know, true loved ones, whoever that might be. It could be a sister, it could be a partner, that really special person who we know we can be completely ourselves with, is when maybe we can start opening up. But you know, sometimes some people don't even have that, and if they do have that, they still don't feel like they can open up. Is that you? You know, are you that person that even though you're surrounded by people, you just don't feel that you can open up about how you're feeling, what you're experiencing, the things that happened, you know, to you years ago that you're really struggling with now as an adult, the things that are happening to you now that nobody knows about. And if you're one of those people, and you're in a professional, if you're a person of professional stance, what I would advise is find somebody to talk to. And it sounds really simple, but for some people it's really difficult to do this, because no matter, we have to find the right person to talk to, because no matter how no matter what we think, no matter how professional we are, no matter how much people do want to help us and do want to you know, not see us in pain, there are some people who will judge us, and we have to be really good at discerning who those people are. The best way forward, if you haven't got anybody like that, a real trusted friend or a partner who you know will not judge you at all, is seek out the services of either a counsellor or a coach. So the difference between a counsellor and a coach, well, basically a counsellor will listen to your problems and will listen to your feelings and your thoughts and your emotions, and you talk about them to get them out in the open, and that's exactly what you need to do. A coach, though, will listen to your problem, listen to how you feel, but then will give you the tools to be able to help you move forward. And so counselling is more about just somebody sitting there, listening to your problem, reflecting it back to you, checking they've understood correctly. A coach will do the same, but then will really endeavour to give you the tools and the strategies to help you to move forward. So that's the difference. So as I said, you know, finding somebody to talk to can seem really, really simple, but this is how we move through emotional pain, because we can deal with it on our own for a period of time. But what will happen is, if we deal with it on our own and we suppress it and we don't release it, that pain will come knocking at some point in the future. I can't give you a time on that, but it will, because even though emotional pain is invisible, we can absolutely feel it and it absolutely exists. So it will come knocking at some point, and that's why it's really important to be able to release your emotional pain, especially if you're in business as well, and you've got a very, very busy job, a very successful business. You have to find an outlet to be able to release that. If you don't, you may experience symptoms which I'll go to in a second. Now, emotional pain is a real bitch, and I'm sure that people who are watching this have felt emotional pain at some point or another. It's very difficult to go through life and not feel it, you know, by the time you're an adult. Now, you know, for me, I have struggled in the past with a lot of emotional pain, as a lot of people have, and I know exactly what it feels like. So I'm not just sort of spurting out stuff that I've read here, you know, this is stuff that I've really experienced myself. I know exactly how it feels. I know how it feels to feel a physical pain in your chest and in your stomach and your solar plexus. I know how it feels to just want to absolutely scream at the top of your voice because you're in so much emotional pain. I know how it feels to be really, really angry at somebody for the pain that you feel they've caused you. I know how it feels to be really, really frustrated, not only with what's going on around you, but with what's going on inside of you, and you just wish it would just all go away. And the uncertainty that going through emotional pain brings, you know, what does the future hold? And definitely the anxiety. I've experienced a lot of anxiety over the past, especially in my younger years. So when we struggle to control our emotions, when we're in that state, you know, we can really, really struggle. And if you don't manage your emotions will manage you. Absolutely, without a doubt, because that's how powerful they are. They're powerful, but they can be our friend too. And you know, sometimes I feel I used to hate feeling negative emotion. You know, pain, frustration, anger, all those things I talked about. But you know, when you're feeling such emotional pain, it tells you that you're alive. You know, that you're feeling that. And that you're human, and that you're sensitive, and that you're caring, and that you're a deep feeling person, and that's a good thing. So how do we deal with this kind of pain and stay in the game of being professional, whether, as I say, you're a business owner or whether you've got a really high-flying career? Well, the first thing is you've got to be kind to yourself and stop beating yourself up for feeling the way you feel. There's absolutely no point, because all that will do is add to your emotional pain. It will make your self-esteem drop, and it will cause you more anxiety, and then lots of negative thoughts come in about, you know, how rubbish you are and why haven't you got over this yet, and you know, it should be better than this, and what if anybody sees. You've got to stop all of that. You've got to try and stop all of that. The second thing is allow yourself, this is the biggest thing, allow yourself to feel those emotions. And that might be scary, but allow yourself to feel them and sit with them. Allow them to come up, you know, from wherever they're sitting, whether it be your tummy, your solar plexus, your chest, and allow them to come up and bubble over. And obviously we need to do this at an appropriate time, you know, in an appropriate place with an appropriate person. You can do this on your own, you know, but make sure that if you do feel overwhelmed at all by your emotions, that you do have somebody on standby at the end of the phone or with you, just so that they can help you to get calmer if it all does get too much. Allow yourself to be vulnerable with somebody. So what I mean is, tell somebody. So simple. And people say, but it might be simple for you because you're used to talking. You know, there was a time, as I said, when I never used to speak to anybody, and then because of the things that I went through, I started going into counselling. And you know, there's no shame in seeking help when you need it. And I had a few episodes of counselling over the years when I needed it, and it was an absolute godsend because there wasn't anybody else for me, and I was a professional as well then as I am now. There wasn't anybody else for me then to open up to at the level that I wanted to. And so, you know, I paid for professional help, which was an absolute godsend. And so allow yourself to be vulnerable with somebody. And the beauty about coaches or counsellors as well is that, you know, they're trained to be non-judgmental, and they're not somebody who are in your circle, so they can look at things objectively with you and for you. I'm a big advocate on you know, seeking outside help. Now, don't get me wrong, family, friends, partners, all absolutely fantastic. If you've got someone that you know has got your back, you know, won't judge you, won't go back and tell anybody else, is you know, will be a confidant for you. If it's not someone professional, again, that's brilliant. But the whole point is to be able to get out that pain and feel those feelings so that you can address it, tackle it, manage it, and move on. Because that's what you want to do in life. You know, you want to be able to move on, feel happier, and be successful. And if you've got a lot of emotional pain weighing you down, it's always going to be there. It's going to make you tired. It's going to make you teary. It's going to come out at some point. And the most common way of it coming out is when people have a drink. So, you know, they go out, they have a drink, have a few glasses of wine or whatever their tipple is, and it will come out then. And so it won't just disappear and dissipate, it will stay there. So my advice, and you know, let's sum it up in a whole, is accept and allow. So accept what you're going through, accept that you're human, accept that you're not bionic, and that, you know, everybody has these times where life throws us a curveball and things get really, really difficult. And allow your feelings and allow your emotions. Think of it like this. So if you jump into a river and it's a river of rapids, and you go to swim upstream because there's something upstream that you really, really want. Say there's a really cold, crisp glass of wine with a bar of chocolate upstream, and you think, I'm going to swim upstream because that's what I want. Now, but let's say that crisp glass of wine and bar of chocolate is your business, and is success in your business. If you think, well, I'm going to have to swim upstream because that's what I want. So you start to swim upstream, and the river's moving really, really fast, and the river represents your emotions. So you're trying to swim upstream, you're trying to swim against your emotions, and you're trying to get away from it, really. And so you're swimming upstream, but you just get more tired and more tired and more tired, and you can't reach that success because your energy is depleted, and you just can't do it anymore. And so what happens is you burn out as well. Whereas you didn't want to just jump in the river, let go, and be taken downstream because you think that success is that way, because I've got to be steely strong and get through anything to be able to get to my success up that way, to be able to get to the chocolate and the wine. But what happens if you jump into the stream and you just think, I'm just going to let go, I'm going to let the river take me, I'm going to let it take me where I need to go, And the river takes you, and there's boulders and bumps, and you might, it might hurt, and you maybe get knocked to the side and things, things like that. But when you get downstream and you turn a corner, there's another glass of wine with another bar of chocolate. But you just couldn't see that because you were too busy looking that way, that you didn't know there was another glass of wine and bar of chocolate that way. So can you see what I'm saying? Just because you think the way to success in your business through emotional pain is just barging through it and ignoring it, there's no point, because it will always come up. You may as well, when times get tough, is rest in that and those emotions. Let life take you where it wants to take you. And then once you've come through that, the success will still be there anyway, if you're doing the right things to get it. Resistance is futile, and remember that a problem shared is a problem halved. And ask for help. For those people who you think, I can't tell them, because what would they say? They might say this, they might say that, and again, you're running movies in your head. People want to help more than you think they do. One of my big things was nobody wants to hear my problems. Everybody's got their own shit going on. Nobody wants to hear my problems. But actually, probably when I look back, I had, a few good people in my life at that time, and maybe they probably would have listened to me, and they probably would have said, it's okay, Tish, we've got your back, kind of thing. So just a small section that somebody asked me to address. If we're in a professional role and we've got our professional mask on and we're going through a lot of pain, how do we keep that professional mask on when we're dealing with clients, when we're dealing with colleagues, when we're doing the things we need to do and making phone calls, etc.? How do we keep that mask on when we're going through a really tough time? Well, this is what I used to do. So those of you who don't know, years ago, I used to sing. Singing was part of my career at that time. I was a singer for 20 years. And even though I was going through some dreadful times, I still had to get up on a stage and sing. And so even though maybe an hour before, where I was in the house and I was maybe in floods of tears, or I was just feeling terrible because of pain, how did I manage to then get in the car, drive to the venue, get up on that stage and entertain people for, for all night really? And it's really simple. You don't see it, if you're in this position, you don't see it as 24 hours a day that you have to keep that mask on. So when you think about it, when you're speaking to a client or you're having a video call with a client, it's only for an hour. Or if you're making a phone call, it could be a 10-minute phone call. If you've got to give a presentation or a workshop, it's maybe for half a day. So all you've got to do is get yourself together for those moments that you've got to present yourself professionally in whatever way that is. So you've just got to muster up your strength to do that, to keep things going. If things are too bad and you're really, really struggling, then there's absolutely nothing wrong with taking time out. Taking time out from work, from your business, for a couple of days, a few days, a week, as long as it takes for you to just get back on that even keel until you can present yourself professionally again. And so I hope you have enjoyed this. I hope it has resonated with some people. If it has, I would love to hear from you in the comments. If you're watching this, as I said, on YouTube, then please do maybe message me via Facebook, Tish Hawken, or go to my website, tishhawken.com. Also, if you are watching this on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe as well, and click the little bell note to get notifications as well. For those of you who maybe do find that they'd like to develop more grit and resilience, to be able to have a support group and to be in, if you're struggling with certain things, personal issues that are affecting your business or your career, then I have a completely free Facebook group that you can join. It's called Grit School. If you'd like to be part of that group, then either message me or put into this chat box, I'd like to join the group, please, and I will definitely add you. So everybody, I hope nobody is in emotional pain. I hope everybody's happy right now. But obviously I know life is life, and you know that just doesn't happen. But I wish you a great week. It's Wednesday. No, it's not. It's Monday. It's Monday, so you've got the whole week ahead. I wish you a great week, and I'll see you next week with another topic. Take care. Bye.